Today's imbalance complaint form comes from Magus, a 2.7k platinum player from the North American server who plays Protoss. And this is what it says. Zerg tech OP. That's it. 3 words. A man of little words. But these words had an impact on me. I read this and I thought, oh, I gotta see this replay. So let's hop into it. Zerg tech OP. All right, here we go. A game between Magus and Gnarl. I always find the G N very difficult to pronounce. So we're going to put the G and the N together. And then you get the K. This is higher level linguistics. Eat that, Noam Chomsky. So Carl over here in the bottom left, opening up with an extractor first. Into a spawning pool. I like it. Cheeky little pool first. Bit of a speed rush, and either going to be a proxy hatch or a drone scout towards the third base, perhaps. Is it possible? Is it possible? I think this is a proxy hatch, to be quite honest. I think Carl thinks the same thing. Carl's feeling the proxy hatch over here. 17, boom, this is a build order. Well, almost a build order. 30 seconds late, or 30 minerals late. It's okay. Gateway on the high ground here for Magus. And follows up with a cyber core. 18 supply. What's this? 18 nexus? 18 core? This is a completely unique build, as the chess players would call it. So we have... Yeah, I've never seen this before in my entire life. We're going for... This isn't even really a wall either. I'm not quite sure what this is. It's not a wall though. It's somewhere in between. It's like it tried to create a wall and then it failed and just kind of gave up. Probably really needs a door here, that's for sure. Second gate on the way on the low ground as well. An opening with a stalker. I'm curious to see how it's going to respond to, well, honestly, anything. Because so far there is 0 information coming out of Magus. Magus has not scouted. Magus is starting a forge, which actually is probably an okay call against this, despite him making the call without having information. I have a suspicion that Magus made the correct call because he didn't have information. I feel like if he would have had information, the call probably would have been inferior. He's pulling some probes here to try and stop the links. It didn't work. Apparently 6 links kill 4 probes. Who would have thought? The Stalker is now kind of running away. Probes get pulled again. How many workers have gone down total? 5 workers have gone down total. Gateway has been unpowered. Forge is unpowered, but that doesn't really matter. You still can build cannons despite it being unpowered, but where do you want to build it? On top of that, Magus isn't quite aware of what's happening. Well, technically, he is aware. Like, he can see it on the minimap, but Magus right now is not doing much of anything. Okay, he sees the creep. Does he respond? No, not really. Goes into the main base to make sure there's no Nidus there. Or an Overlord. This is the real priority as the creep is creeping up outside the race. Maybe actually Magus thought that Zerg players these days, even at the platinum level, are just really getting good at creep spread. He looked at the creep on the menu. I was like, man, this guy is crazy creep. That's real impressive. Now I realize, like, wait a second, there's spines already as well. I wonder what's going on over there, huh? Wish I would have scouted. Let me just full wall here for a second. I'm not quite sure if that is the correct call. I much prefer seeing a couple of cannons being thrown down. Yes, I like that gate being cancelled. I don't like this Stalker being sent in to die for free. Meanwhile, on Carl's side of things, we have 2 Spore Crawlers being added in. I guess in case of a Void Ray response, or maybe he's really afraid of DTs. I'm not so sure why the Spores are this far forward. Maybe the tank? And Spores do have more HP than Spine Crawler, so perhaps that's important. Fairly odd opener here for both players, and well, I mean, this is tactically a build, right? I've seen this build before, but not with this amount of Spine Crawlers. Usually it's 3 Spine Crawlers, the rest is Ling Queen, and then if you can spend your money, you get a hatchery. But it seems like Carl is really keen on just add more, brother. Boom, 4 Spore Crawlers, there we go. 2 more spines as well coming in. It's going to bring that total up to 8. I like it. Meanwhile, we have Magus continuing to mine from his natural, which is probably not even that bad of a call. I mean, get all the money that you can while, you know, this base is still up, and then you just transfer the probes in towards the main base. Follows this up with double robotics facility. I think this is not a good call. Inefficient is what I'd say. So if you're going to be stuck for an extended time on one base, you gotta think about the mineral gas ratio that you will be getting, right? You can't afford too many gas units from just 2 gases. You're gonna need some type of mineral sink. The mineral sink doesn't come out of the robotics facility unless you're planning on building 4 prisms. But that doesn't seem to really be the case. One of the first units here is an observer to make sure that the spines are still outside. I'm not quite sure what this obs is doing. Well, suicide. He observed the situation that his commander was in. It's like, I'm out of here, boys. I'm not staying around for this. I know how this story ends. He saw the 7 spines and the 3 spores. He saw his opportunity, went head first. He's like, I'm out, boys. No shot, I'm staying around. I mean, there's still no information really for Magus. Technically, he could be ahead. Technically, he is ahead. He's up 15 supply. He has 700 minerals in the bank, 800 minerals in the bank, 200 gas as well. He is controlling these immortals in such a way that they're taking more damage than they ever really should. There's no prism either, which makes these move outs a little bit scary, in my opinion. The one thing he does have is minerals, so I think a prism would be a logical follow-up step, but instead we see the observer sieged up in such a way that I'm not even sure if it provides more vision than the pylon would have by itself. I think just barely more vision. This is not entirely brilliant. I'm not quite sure about these batteries either, like what value they provide, but Magus is definitely feeling it. He's managing to micro this in such a way that it almost feels like the spine crawler is the counter to the immortal rather than the other way around. I have a robo bay on the way. 2 more pylons as well. This is just a very weird setup. And technically, Carl is still not that far ahead. He's gonna come in for a surround now, though. Gets 1 immortal. Since there's no prism, these can't be saved. 2nd immortal will go down. 3rd immortal in trouble as well. Shield gets activated. That's fairly lucky there. Means that this immortal will survive. 2 immortals go down, but so will a bunch of links. 36 links died. But at this point, Carl actually is pulling ahead. He's building 9 drones. And at this speed, the speed that Magus has been clearing this spine wall with, means that, well, he's going to be stuck here for a little while. So far, he's killed 1 spore and lost 2 immortals. And an observer. And now he's producing 2 more observers. But I've seen what the previous one did. I don't trust these guys. This guy is having a blast now. He's like, I'm safe. I'm good. This guy sees the spore. He's like, okay, also fine. Getting some information. Not a whole lot of information, but at least a little bit of information. You know, there's a spore over here as well. Like, there's plenty of opportunities for suicide if he truly wants to. A spore here, spore on the bottom side. I like to bring your attention to something special as well over here. And that is the money that Magus has been floating during all of this. He currently has 1,700 minerals and 100 gas, which by itself is a fairly impressive feat. I do have to admit that. This feels a little bit as if you were to be locked into prison for, let's say, a year. So you're locked into prison for a year, and the security guard gives you a Rubik's Cube, okay? And the security guard says, if you finish this Rubik's Cube, by the end of your prison sentence, you will be rewarded $15 million. Okay, $15 million. So, close the thing. 1 year later, open the prison cell. Guy comes out. Rubik's Cube, nowhere to be found. All the stickers have been peeled off very well and used on the wall to create a, I don't know, a drawing of a penis or something with stickers. And I don't know what he did with the Rubik's Cube. All we know is it ain't there anymore. Flushed it down the toilet. This kind of feels like what Magus is doing here. He had one job, sit in his base and spend money, because let's face it, he hasn't been really doing a whole lot else. He hasn't moved down with these Immortals for a bit, and he just isn't doing it. He's not spending his money. He's floating 2k, which on an income of 500, once again, is very impressive. That means he hasn't been spending any of his minerals, basically for 3 minutes of his income. He hasn't been spending that at all. Impressive, really quite impressive. Disruptors are moving forward, and I love the way that they're spreading out their Purification Novas. This is really smart. This is a trick. It allows the Zerg player to transfuse all of the spines back to health before your Purification Novas are off of cooldown again. So this is like bringing water to the sea. Not very useful. Some more Purification Novas. I think one of those managed to hit a building. The others missed. Oh, the observer died. Oh no, I died. Was that the second one? Yeah, second one. Poor guy. 15 drones on the way. Meanwhile, Carl over here in the bottom left is honestly giving his opponent as many chances as possible. He's like, all right, what does my opponent have for army? 4 Disruptors and 3 Immortals. Let me build the one unit in the Zerg arsenal that is really bad against that. And the Lurker. I guess he also could have massed Roaches, or I guess out of all the units he could have built, the Corruptor would have been the worst. It would have provided no value here whatsoever. So in a way, you know, the Lurker ain't all that bad. And there's also a bunch of links out already. We have 16 links. I think they have 1-1 upgrade. Yep, 1-1 upgrades as well. So he's feeling good about all of this. Purification Nova, boom, gonna hit that Spore. That's some good stuff. That's some real good stuff over here. Oop, 3 Observers. Can't have enough vision in your own main base. Loving the fact, by the way, here that he hasn't scouted anything on the other side of the map quite yet. Just legitimately nothing. He hasn't seen past his own half. This man has built 6 Observers so far in this game and has negative information. Impressive. Hive is now on the way here for Carl. It's a couple of Overlords just running around. What are we actually doing at this point? Not a whole lot, it feels like. I think we've just been idling for the past like 25 seconds. Just gonna have the APM tab open for a little bit, just to make sure that nothing's out there. Carl's going ham, look at that. Went up to 400 over there. Oh! One observer managed to escape from this hell that they call the Protoss live with Magus. 2 Nexi on the way. Okay, he's getting rid of his money at a pretty high pace. The Immortals will clear this Zerg cocoon. What's the resources lost so far? 2,800 to 3,600. This isn't looking so good for Magus. And also, something that is quite interesting here, may I just say something that is really quite interesting, is the fact that Magus, his only thing that was on the imbalance complaint form was Zerg tech OP. And so far, all the Zerg tech that Magus has seen came from the spawning pool, which is the most primitive tech structure that Zerg has. If Magus already gets upset because of the spawning pool, imagine how angry a Roach Warren must make him, or a Baneling Nest. Baneling Nest costs gas. Like that really gets his blood boiling. This entire experience is kind of wild because he hasn't scouted once. He's not aware of anything. Wait. I have a theory about the move out that we just saw. Look at this. I think Magus believes that you can spawn at any base on the map. I think Magus believes that this was the main base. He thinks this is where the Zerg spawned. He believes he just killed the main base of his opponent. I think that's what happened. That's why he's so confident in staying in. He's like, man, I just destroyed my opponent's main. And then he checked to see if he expanded to a natural or not. This makes so much sense. This completely it sheds a new light on this game. I thought this was the worst replay I've ever received in my life. It probably still is, but at least we now understand the mindset here of Magus. Carl, meanwhile, is making sure that every rock gets taken out on the map. Starts his 2-2 upgrades for the carapace. I mean, this is a freaking game and a half, isn't it? Holy cow. 94 supply against 171. Zerg tech OP. Observers. What's the game moving? How many have we lost so far? 4. Okay, these guys... they're joining forces. They're looking for a sport to fly in, but they can't find any. Boys, have you seen any sports? I was like, nah. I want to go head first as well. I was like, yeah. It's like talking about how jealous they are of the other observers that managed to escape already. They're just lurkers, but they can't attack up. They don't have any detection. Any overseers around over here? No, neither. God, that's so frustrating. How do we get out of this game? How do we leave it? Good lord. 3 overlords are on the way, or sorry, overseers are on the way for Carl. Who also throws down a baneling nest. It's on 74 workers. I just can't believe that we're in a game with a Protoss that built 10 observers 14 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, and he hasn't seen past the halfway point of the map. It is just magnificent. Here comes a major poke with the entire army. Disruptor usage has honestly been pretty okay. Disruptor usage has honestly been pretty okay. These 2 Hydras will go down. Good lord. I'm not quite sure why anyone would send this replay. And I have... Okay, first thing, I have no clue why anyone would send this replay. And second, why in the world would you write Zerg tech OP? Like, was this like a random word generator and these came out? It just doesn't make any sense. He legitimately lost the links and spines. He lost the spines and then links did majority of the damage. Is it possible that the imbalance complaint form was Magus's way of showing off his entire vocabulary? Like, this is all he knows when it comes to English or just any language in general. Zerg tech OP. These were the 3 words. Like he went to Duolingo. You know, sometimes at Duolingo you get these sentences. This football tastes delicious like grass. It's like, that's a great first sentence to learn, Duolingo. Thank you so much. Maybe that's what his Duolingo was. It just said Zerg tech OP. And it's like, Zerg tech OP. Let me put that in here. The boys are going to be so jealous. And let me just add this random replay that I played on the ladder the other day. My opponent spawned in a really weird location. Like, what in the actual living crap was this? This was one of the worst games I think I've seen in my life. I don't understand how Carl and Magus can be matched up either. Like, the skill difference was so massive. Carl was legitimately macroing and doing things. His eco was good. He understood what to do. He burrowed his lurkers. His micro wasn't brilliant all the time, but he also had an all-in the early game, which probably should give you higher MMR. Like, the thing that I really want here is a replay which Magus wins. I want to see what that looks like, because it's difficult for me to imagine. He doesn't really seem keen on... Maybe his way of winning is just by mining his entire side of the map and then his opponent suicides into him or something. He doesn't seem so keen on attacking. I actually have nothing useful to say about this game. Like, this was legitimately one of the worst games I think I've seen. Like, really nothing from the Protoss here made sense. It just felt like a completely unevenly matched game, despite this being at 2.7k MMR, which is probably one of the lower MMRs that you can get on the North American ladder. Like, this is the bottom of the barrel, and Magus just fell through it. Like, he truly hit rock bottom. It's kind of inspirational in a way. Like, Magus, Zerg tech isn't OP. You suck. But I have no clue what this was. Is it a recall that he just used here in the end as well? This Nexus looks weird. No, probably something else. I have no clue what this was. I don't want replays like this anymore. I'm done with this. I appreciate all of you for sitting through with me through this replay. If any of you have a replay of losing to Magus, I'd like to see it just for my own entertainment. If you're Magus and you have a replay of you winning, I would like to have it as well. Just send it to my email, and I'm just fairly curious what it looks like. You sucked, obviously. That's it. Like the video and subscribe. See you all next week or tomorrow, because I have videos every day. There's multiple series. It's not just IOTAS, guys. Bye-bye.